So to create your own customized dashboards and reports, you need to be in the Dashboards tab, and as a default, you will see on your account 3 charts that we've given. They will not look like this, but they will be templates that you can start from so you don't have to start from scratch. So to create and edit and dashboard layouts is that we got to create these boxes and see what do you want your dashboard to look like. So the first step is let's set up what the dashboard should look like. Scroll down on this page and we're going to add a row and we select the layout. So let's say we want side by side. And then we go on and say, all right, let's create our chart. So decide first what it is that you want to chart. So let's look at the different report types and options that you have. So under the report type, you will have an issue report, which is the amount of activities or issues that's been sent in through the system by tracking the number of them. We have a field report, and field report means the actual fields that are inside a template. And I will show you examples of what that means. A KPI report means Key Performance Indicator report, which actually breaks down certain fields and certain elements into percentages and counts and maximums and minimums so that you can start creating some KPIs around your performance. We also have user report, for example, to see what individual users are doing what and who, for example, are your top reporters. The numeric report is also a report that we have when you're tracking numbers. For example, I want to track oil temperature or oil pressure or tire pressure or any kind of metric number over time or compare it to various sources. So we're going to do examples of each one of these. But let's keep it simple for now and say I want to see what's actually happening. So I type in issue report and I choose my date range to say let's do this year. And I can choose my form type. So the form types that I have is I've created different things and I want to look at the work order, for example. And I want to select by Chris and I want to choose the fields that I want to look at. So we can keep it open just to see, well, I had a spike in February, but that's all that this user has done. Well, I also want to say breakdown, well, let's look at customers. Can we see any customer data within this? So let's say how many I have, a 1, 2, or 3, and I can see that we have some customers 3. So as you build in the reports, they will update as you build them. And this makes it very easy to kind of better gauge what type of report that you're looking for. When we're finished, we simply add a name to say customer activity. And once we're finished, we hit create chart. And here we can actually see the customer activity by this particular customer. Now, we can go in and create many different other reports, and the more data you have, the easier it's going to be to build your reports. So let's go and look at field report, for example. Now, under field report, we have different form types, and what we're looking for specifically are the actual fields inside a template. Here we can see the customer, the rig, and item list. So for example, under item list, we can actually track the various items that has been selected. I can go in and look at, we can do a take 5 and see what fields are in here. So we can see, well, what if we want to track, are the lights on? Is the water turned off? Are the doors locked? Is the alarm on? Is the garbage removed? Have you signed out? We can track this and actually see how often are the lights actually on. Well, let's say on and on. And we can actually start plotting it. So right now we don't have any data for this, but I think you understand where we're going with it. When you're finished, you simply hit create chart. The other thing that I wanted to show you is the KPI report. And the difference between the KPI report and the field report is we're looking at some calculations. So we can look at percentages, we can look at an average, we can look at counts. So this will help you better gauge on how you're actually performing in, for example, percentage-wise. And obviously you can compare this across various different users and forms as well. So let's have a look at the user report. And the user report is to say, well, who's done what over a certain amount of time. So let's see what Chris has done over last year. So we can see, well, he hasn't done too much. And we can change this to have a look at a pie chart. We can see Chris has done that, but let's look at all users and we can compare it against the various types. So let's have a look at column chart, and we can see the number of users been done last year, and we can do this year, and we can see it hasn't been done anything this year. So this is a great way to check on how users use the system. Numeric report is, for example, that we've talked about, is tracking performance of data over time. So what we mean by this is, let's say you have a number of activities, and we can actually start plotting this as you go along. And you can compute these numbers by averages, count, or sum to plot over time. For example, if you want to check oil pressure or tire pressure or any kind of number that is being tracked, and you can actually start calculating that using standard deviations and so forth. And we are going to go through that in a different video about how to build the forms and the templates on how to set this up so these reports can be pulled from that. So this is a quick overview on how the reports and chart builders work.